countdown. Let's go. Ooh.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back. This is Entrepreneur Beginnings with Queer HCEO. If you're tuning in for the first time, we are a show about entrepreneurs. We interview entrepreneurs throughout the world, and we like to get to know everyone's story of what it was like when they first began, how it is now, and what they would like to let future entrepreneurs know about the experience. So today we are going to be speaking with Coach Oscar from Cape Town, and we're really looking forward to hearing his story. We will be discussing his experience as an entrepreneur. Today, one of our partners of Corporate Diagnostic Center is American Cancer Society. And so you will be able to select the link on any of the platforms that you're on and donate to them. They do have an initiative in Kenya where they actually helped bring 156 beds to the Kenya Hope Hostel. So I'm really looking forward to helping them raise as much money as possible, especially for the holidays. So that being said, go ahead. Coach Oscar, how are you doing today?
Yes, I'm fine. Thank you, Val. How are you? Can you hear me?
Good. I'm very good.
Great.
Yes, I could hear you.
Awesome. It's winter summer here in Cape Town, but if you're familiar with Cape Town weather, it flips. In matter of minutes, it can be hot, and in the next minute, it's changing to be cold. That's why I'm like this. It looks hot earlier on, but while dressing my kids to take them out, I noticed that the weather was changing. So sure, I have to dress warm. And how are you?
Absolutely. Are you connected? Oops, there you go. The video has been disabled due to internet quality.
What happened?
Okay, perfect. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you perfectly.
Okay, perfect. That's fine. So your video is disabled for now, but it'll populate again once your internet service is back. But as long as we can hear you, that's what's important.
Okay. All right, great.
Excellent. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Like you rightly said, I'm Coach Oscar. They call me the transformational specialist. And the reason why I go over that is because, one, I had 10 years working experience in the bank. And all through my 10 years experience, I learned a few things. Remember, life is all about learning. For me, that's how I see life. I've never really seen life from the hard or the reality like some people saying, but not because I want to what.
Absolutely.
Negative,
there you are.
It's definitely going to help us. So I started my journey having transitioned from the corporate, and I lost my job. Once the job was gone, and this was something that I built a career for 10 good years. I couldn't believe it was gone.
Oh, wow.
If you've read the book, Who Moved My Cheese, it's still my favorite book. And I was sitting there for months, whining and complaining what happened, who did this to me, why all of those stuff happened. And somehow, one morning I woke up, I still remember laying in bed, and I lacked the momentum, the energy to even go out there and cook. And I'm like, what am I going to do? So I said to myself, I have a choice to sit where I am, whine and complain. Yes, they're all real, they're all valid, but it will never change anything around the situation where I find myself. I still have bills to pay. I've got old parents. I come from a family of 9. I had people that I still need to take care of who were looking up to me. And the other mind was, you have to do something. That is not the end of life. So now I started asking myself, what can I do from where I am? So I remember while still in a corporate job, I'd written 2 books. And then while I was still doing this, I do get those side gigs. I didn't really see it as side gigs as at that time. Just do it like something you love. So when I wrote the books, I started getting people ask me to come do training for their companies.
Wait, you said you wrote 2 books, Oscar? What are the names of those books?
Okay, my first book was Who Am I? Who Am
Who am
I?
I? Okay.
Yes. Who Am I was just a story about my childhood, teenage years, mistakes that I made, and the moment when I realized that my friend got shot. Then that was in my first year in varsity. A friend of mine who we were very close with got shot because of this stuff we lived, the lifestyle we lived then. And nobody talked to me, even though my father was a preacher, a pastor, and I seemed to be a very good boy at home, but nobody knew what I live in on campus. So now I sat back when I saw my friend get shot, and I started crying for the first time. I just asked myself, so why am I in varsity? Why am I even studying? So what I was asking myself was, my course that I was studying then was 4 years program. Am I just going to graduate at the end of 4 years and get shot? Because that was what exactly happened to that guy. So will I end the same way? I was scared, I was terrified, and I belong to this group that you just cannot quit on your own. So what I did was to
Yeah.
leave that city, move to another town, start it all over again. And that was when I wrote that book, Who Am I? So it
How
was
old
one
were
of
you,
those
if you don't
books.
mind me asking,
I think I
when
was
that happened?
I think I was between 23 or 24, 5. I know I
That's
wasn't more than
huge.
25 years.
A
So
lot
that
of
was,
times a lot of times people think that they're stuck in whatever they are in when they're 17, 18, 19 years old because it feels so permanent, right? And
yeah,
so
yeah.
for you to say this out loud is amazing because you were able to identify what you needed to do and you made those steps and you even wrote a book about it. What was the other book that
Yeah.
you wrote?
My second book was Thriving in the Marketplace.
Ah, the
Thriving in the
difference.
marketplace. That was when I was now in the corporate, and I see the way our sales guys was going about sales and marketing, and I felt they could do better. So what I did was to now I felt how do I share these thoughts? So it's better to get it documented in a book, and then try to say, hey guys, how about you look at this? So that's exactly what I did. And another strategy I did was I engaged some of my top senior guys at the bank then to also make input. I got them to write a chapter, the other one write a forward, and then yeah. So when I launched the book, it was a big hit, and I think that was when I made my first million. And I was like, how could this be? Guess what happened? My boss never could believe someone under the condition we were working would be able to still have time to write. So they were very impressed. And during the launching, I was getting that check. Someone would just said, I'm not just buying the book. I love the energy, and this is what I'm encouraging. So, but anyway, that's how it is. So when the job was gone, that moment where you just sat back again and begin to ask yourself, you either stay stuck where you are because it's gone, or you choose to move on. So that was what I did. So I started asking myself, what can I do from here? So I said, but while I'm still employed, I get asked to come do training, and once in a while they pay me. And they give me those envelope, they call it honorarium. They said, this is for your fee, even though I wasn't really asking. I was well off, so I wasn't really asking for payment to just show up and impact people. So I said to myself, but I've seen people who train and get paid. I've seen authors who sells book and they get paid. So now I needed to go learn the business of a coach, the business of a speaker, the business of an author. How do you move from just doing these things as passion because you feel that energy just wanting to do it. Now I knew that I had passion for it, but the circumstances at this time was that there was no more job. So if I want to make this a professional step where people could pay me, then I had to meet all those requirements. So I need to separate passion from business. How do
Yes.
I learn the business around this? So I registered for some of those coaching program, attended some certification program, and then yeah, I got endorsed. So what I do as an entrepreneur now is the transformation. And for me, I take the story of my life, see how I can help at least one person. I've always gone with this mindset that at least I can change the world. I would die. But I believe that if I can speak to one young person or one guy that
Yes.
is in the space of transitioning to something he really likes, whether he caused the circumstances like me, my situation, or He's just thinking of, I've had enough, or I need more than what I am right now. How do I go up that challenge?
And
And those
that's
are the people I work with.
absolutely. And that is a wonderful place to be. I was actually just speaking to one of my good friends yesterday. Everybody's
Wow.
been saying, you look really tired. You should go to sleep. And I said, well, I do sleep 3 hours a day. However, I do have responsibilities globally. And they're like, how did this happen? And I'm like, I don't know, but I have like, there's at some point in this moment of being a worker bee to becoming an entrepreneur, I had an aha moment of there is something bigger than myself that I am participating in, and there is more than just me and paying my rent and paying my bills. There is so much more that we can do, and that's what it sounds like where you were at. You know, you found your that moment of you can do more with what you've been doing. I like that.
You see, that's so profound for me. I read about Steve Jobs, and I see that this guy, he made his wealth, made his fortune. But when I studied about him, I see that he got to a point where just having those money weren't enough. Someone really wanted to live beyond the food, the bills, all of this. I believe that there's something inside of us that yearn for or crave for that fulfillment. And like I told you, sharing my young, youthful life, that experience, I think, for me is always like a focal point that I always need to go back to. I didn't like the space I was, and I said to myself, I had to do something. In fact, when I finally opened up to speak to my parents about it, now none of them believe I could have been that taking that path, or I was that kind of person. So you see, the best life we could live is when you are yourself.
Yeah.
You're not living for anyone, but that's it. So the journey or the space where I am is, if I can help one person transition and become his really self, I feel I'm good. I can die and I'm happy being a dead man. That's it.
I love that. So, and that kind of goes into my next question, which I always ask. So, well, you answered them already, but I'm still going to ask one of them. So, how long have you been an entrepreneur for? Because it's important for people to know the time frame of how long it really takes, because this isn't an overnight sensation. It's very, very, very rare that it does happen, but when it does happen, yes, but it's a lot of work, right? So how many years do you think you've invested as an entrepreneur to get to where you are today?
I remember I left professionally. I started in 2012 when I got fired from my job. Like I said, I said to myself, I didn't really need to stay this long in that space. I've seen people who lost their jobs and really nothing happened. And then I said to myself, I don't want to be that after some years you can't find your foot. You were doing very well, but something happened and then you can't get back. No, I had to find ways to reinvent. So from 2012, that was when my journey started. And it's been like this roller coaster, like this. I'm not there. I don't want anyone to think, yes, I've been to over 10 countries. I've spoken on platforms. I think my highest platform I've spoken is 1,500 people. Wow. But I still believe I'm not there. I'm not there. There's something that is craving for something more. And that's what I'm every day working on to see if I can actualize that dream.
That's wonderful, and you will definitely. What can you tell us about your business that you own now?
Okay, I run a company called Billion House Consulting, and Billion House Consulting, it's three business in one. Where one is about the human capital development. The second one is we do creative designs. So we have people, entrepreneurs, where we do business development. And then the third part is we do travels. For me, traveling is one of my hobbies. So we do the travel and the visa part of it. So, but all of these align because before COVID, we used to have people come down to Cape Town for my conference, besides the one I get invited outside of my base, Cape Town, to attend. I used to host 3 events in Cape Town, and people comes in, and I knew people who were coming. My ideal guys are the entrepreneurs, the guys wanting to transition from whichever space they don't like to where they want to be. So we help when you start up your business, now how do you get that branding? How do you, from the ground zero to probably where you want to be, overall business idea development, we handle that. And then we also do that travel. Okay, our guests that are coming, we have a team that takes care of the visas and all of that. So this, how our business has been evolving, and COVID came. When
Yes.
COVID came, we do have a team of 5 back then working for us, but we had to let go 3. So currently we still keeping 2. One is working remotely. Yeah, that's how we are and how
Nice.
the business has been.
And so that's focused in Cape Town, correct? That's your company?
Yes, in Cape Town. But the idea is this: we build a kind of a global ecosystem that helps purely on mentoring. And like I said, anyone could plug in from anywhere. It's all about, do you have the desire? Do you have the hunger? Do you really want it like me, who probably didn't have any other option, or I didn't want to just sit there and suck? Now, if you feel you've got this hunger, then you can plug in. We meet online. We have the online one. Since the COVID started, we haven't really had a live event. So we've been using the online platform and run 6 weeks program, 3 months program, depending on the need.
Okay, I like that. And this is, I'm going to say, so this is for www.oscaremetui.com. You can email him at info@oscaremetui.com. And that's for CEO of Billion House Consulting.
Excellent.
Excellent. I think that that's wonderful work that you do. So, and we doing business to business is really interesting. It's a very, if you really think about the statistics of it all, right? When you go into business to business services, we're dealing with a very small percentage of people. And so one failure can feel very monumental, right? Because we don't have the luxury of the other 95% of the population to market to. We have a 5% of the market that we can actually tap into. And of that 5%, 2% will see us. And of that 2%, 0.005% will contact us. So it's a hard ball game. And that's what I do. I do business to business services as well. And originally I was doing nationwide. That's why I asked you if it was global or if it was within Cape Town. And so then as I looked at my business model, someone already asked me, they're like, are you going to go global with your business model? And I was like, no, why would I do that? That sounds like a horrible idea. And then this is before I realized the statistics of that market, right? And so then somebody else asked me, and then I looked at my services, and then I was like, wait a minute, I could totally do this on a global level. Oh my goodness, this is wonderful. Absolutely. And then my percentage went from only 0.05% to 5%, right? And so that's a good place to be for someone like us. Now, when you say you have these groups, what is are these groups open to the public, or how do you market those groups that you're in, those coaching groups?
Now, the thing is this: number one, on Facebook, I have my Coach Oscar Growth Hub, where anyone can join. It's just though it's a private group, but it's absolutely free. So once in a while, we sell our program there. And like you rightly acknowledged, what I do is business to business, and I believe everyone is not my client. I'm very clear on that. But what we try to do as a team is to make sure that we give so much value, and we help people. And because I understand that everyone can be our client, so whichever or whoever trust us with their business, we deliver. And word of mouth, still the oldest form of marketing, is been going on like that. So from social media, we get lots of people who join the group, and then when they hear about any of our opening for our mastermind group, or maybe the 30 days to write your book challenge, whichever of the offers we have at the time, they plug in. And if you can't join in when we have it, we put you on the waiting list, and then when it's open, we ask you to come on board. Like I said, we're very clear. We're not aiming to serve the whole world, or in fact, we can't even manage the whole of South Africa. But we know there are people we are attracted to. And these people will always, like you said, the 0.0 points, they will find you. And those are the ones we seek and we intend to serve and serve with the whole of our mind and our heart and everything we represent.
Exactly. Like the last 170 people that I've spoken to, one person said, wow, I really love what you're doing. One person. And that makes sense because when I speak, people are like, what are you saying? Because we don't speak the same language anymore. It's a very different language that we speak. We have a different, I like to say as visionaries, right? Visionaries have a different way to conceptualize their words and express them to people. And sometimes they can't wrap their head around it. So one of the things
Maybe before you come up with the next question, I just want to say that I truly appreciate what you're doing. Let me be the second person. You're doing fantastic job changing lives and giving people that opportunity to hear stories and also connect with amazing minds. Just not about the marketing. For me, your platform is just what we need in time like this. So I would say, well done. Thank you, brother, for all you do.
Absolutely. I appreciate that. I'm really looking forward to it. Like my goal is I told everyone, I was like, even if no one shows up and watches these, one day there's going to be a hungry entrepreneur about to give up and he or she is going to come across one of these videos and be like, no, you know what? If they could do it, I could do it, and I think that's the important part. So thank you for sharing your story with us for sure. It's important. So tell us about, so what was one of your favorite moments that you've had as an entrepreneur so far? Like one moment that really just stood out to you?
For me, I think I always believe life is about moment, and what entrepreneurs should be worried about or mindful of is how to seize those moments. So here's me who's lost a job, trying to get off again and get started, and knowing fully well that I've got bills, got parents, old parents to take care of, and all of that. Mm-hmm. Now, I thought going into my training or the knowledge industry was just, you look good, you dress nice, have a very beautiful office, and in a very good suburb. I thought that was all it takes to be successful. Mm-hmm. So I did that with my last savings and all that I had. But guess what? 8 months into that office, mm-hmm. I was kicked out. What happened? I never had one single client. The office was great. The boardroom was amazing. And I'm like, why couldn't I have a paying client for this long? And in fact, the landlord had to be so kind to say, look, you're already 3 months behind and you don't look like you'll be able to pay the next month. How about I ask you to leave and I'll write off that 3 months, then you keep building this debt. And for me, I felt that was one of the best things that happened because I wouldn't know what I would have done then. So now that led me into understanding that firstly, as if you were a thought leader, a coach, a speaker, or most especially someone that does this service business, rather than see yourself as a speaker, a coach, thought leader, consultant, and all of that, maybe you should start considering yourself first and foremost as a salesperson.
Yes.
So for me, that was what changed everything around my business strategy, the model, and I refused to go get another office until I was sure I have not less than 10 paying clients. At least that could sustain me for 6 months. That was the game plan, and this happened the day I was asked to leave that office. Again, I would have sit there and be, oh my God, where do I go from here? Maybe entrepreneurship is not for me. Maybe I'm not good enough for this. I told you in the beginning, I've programmed my mindset that I don't really have to be thinking about the negative. Let the world die right next to me. I'll look for the positive around this happening. That's how I condition my mind. A lot is happening in our world. A lot is happening to a lot of people. And if we continue to sit back and just focus on all of those things, we would never achieve anything. Absolutely. My strongest and my biggest moment is those challenging times. They help me to think, recalibrate, reinvent, and then relaunch. That's how I live my life.
Absolutely. And that's the best way to live, because one of the things I always say is that as a visionary, as an entrepreneur, where people see a problem and want to go the opposite direction, we find a solution and find a way to monetize on it. We find a way to not work around it, but to build on it, to make things better. And so entrepreneurs they're the bridgers to different societies and cultures and everything. And so we are a hub, right? And so once we can identify that that's what our role is in this world, is as a hub, even as uncomfortable as it can get sometimes, we still do it because not everyone has that strength to get through that. And so once you grow into that and evolve as an entrepreneur, that's where you are. You're that bridge. You are the hub and the connector.
Yeah, and you see, just to add to what you just said, exactly what you're doing right now, that hungry entrepreneur is just going to stumble into this video or this session or all of the videos the people you've been interviewing. And I believe this is how people transition or get transformed when you get to see or meet that person. And remember, even in the space where we are, it's all about, we will always get to see the obstacles. We always get to see those mess and those learning, those challenges. But the question is, will anyone wants to go down that curve, that valley that Coach Oscar has been through, or you would rather wait, let me be the bridge. Instead of you going through where I went through, you would rather stand on this and jump to your next level. And I'm quick to say that doesn't mean you're not going to fail, but rather at least you could learn from Val's mistakes, learn from Coach Oscar's mistakes, and then stand on their shoulders. You will go farther. That's the philosophy I do business with.
I had to make a decision. I had to make one of my a very big financial decision about a week ago. And so I already knew. So I have 4 phases of my organization, of my business model. And however, phase 4 presented itself in the middle of phase 2. And I said, I could really do this or I cannot do this. And I was like, well, if I don't do this, someone else is going to do it. And then they're going to have the access that I have. And then they're going to sell the product to me. And so I found that, I do have an amazing reach. And I was like, okay, I told them, I was like, no, I think I'm going to wait until January because, I don't have any money coming in. And like you, I would like to have 20 clients before. I need to make sure that I could monetize on this as soon as possible. And so then I told my spouse, I said, you know what, I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait on this. Like, okay, that feels better. And I'm like, yeah. And I'm like, that does feel better. I can't wait. I'm going to do it. And so I actually was up this morning. And so I was up and I was pre-planning a launch I don't have the product yet. Right. But I was pre-planning the launch and I was like, okay, this is sink. Is it what is it called? Sink or sale? Yeah, sink or sale. This is a sink or sale moment. And so I invested 1/3 of our finances into this. Wow. And so now I said, okay, so now this is it. This is going to happen and I need to do everything. I've been training myself for 3 months. Yeah, all 3 months of my experience as an entrepreneur. I make this choice because I know that on a marketing perspective, I can really, really do something with it. However, remember that 0.005% of people, now only 0.0005 people need that product. So I have to go really hard on it, right? And that's what we do. We make these decisions and sometimes we fail and sometimes we succeed, but most times we fail. And it's all about re-navigating, readjusting, and repeat what you said. You said you gotta reassess the situation and go back and attack it again, right?
Come on. I agree with you. That's so. I'm even learning from you this time.
It's a very interesting, I like what you said about the way, dressing up and having this beautiful office. I intentionally dress. My spouse was like, are you always going to dress like you live on the streets? And I'm like, yeah, I really am. Because I'm making a point that, everyday people are allowed to be business owners. And what we forget, right, is that plumbers are business owners. Cosmetologists are business owners. People that sell candles to each other are business owners because they have that entrepreneur spirit, right? So when I go and do business, I'm not wearing a suit and tie, nor will I ever. Because I represent everyday human beings that, you know what, it's okay to be yourself and it's okay to still reach for the stars.
100%. I agree with that. That's so excellent. I think it's all about the niche. It's all about your target audience. It's all about who you're trying to reach out to. And like we say, dress the way you want to be addressed. So dread to be able to attract who you, for example, you want to reach out to plumbers and you're looking very posh with the suits. I don't know how the connection is going to work, but if you work in such a way that you can connect with them, I think that's the killer. And you also said something very profound. I did learn something from one of my coaches that still in that phase when I stayed 8 months, no client, no one. He said to me, you have to learn how to create a product, sell it even before you even work on that very product. Mm-hmm. Get a name, just throw it out there. And like you said, not everyone is going to buy, but when you start getting that interest, then you go back and do the homework and then get ready for it. And that's one of my secrets about some of the products we run and we try to get people on board. We just come up with such, first of all, we do a little survey, and then we're asking what would they want, times like this, what are you struggling with, what else, or how would you want to be helped? Based on those feedback, we know, oh, okay, here's the direction, here's what people want. And then we come up with something. How about this? Will you want? Just like when we started our mastermind group. That wasn't when the lockdown began in South Africa. We thought it was just an holiday. And we were told to go home for 1 month. And then 1 month, we're home, nothing was happening. They keep extending. I remember one day going online on Facebook. And then I said, is there anyone like me who is bored and come see a lot of people just, yes. Wow, like, woo. Then the next thing I did was to come up with, I think the following day or shortly after, I said, how about we hold ourselves accountable on that thing we've always been wanting to do? Now we're on lockdown. How about we write that book? How about we start and complete that project? How about we form some kind of accountability? Is this something anyone is interested? Boom! Mm-hmm. I got 68 people who joined, and I started it for free.
That's
now,
wonderful.
Once we're done with that for 3 months, the next one, what I did was now put a fee on it, 250 USD. How many people are interested? Yeah, we got 15 people from about 10 or 12 countries plugged in for different ideas, project, write books, start a new business, all of that. We come together, we hold ourselves accountable. And that was how the journey started. How did I get here? Mm-hmm. I never had an idea about any form of accountability, mastermind, never had. It was my problem. I threw it out there, and people said, yeah, sure, let's do it. And then, poof, we did the first one. It worked. Can actually
absolutely
scale and continue to touch lives.
That was one of the things that, when I made this decision, I didn't have any money starting off, right? And then, we were like, okay, what are we going to do? We're going to figure this out. Banks said no to us. It was just one dead end after another. And I said, it's too late. I've already started. Like, we need to continue to do this. And so, we took that next step. And then all of a sudden, I learned, once I had the resources to buy into some of these services where I'm able to create exactly what I want without having somebody taking out the middleman and becoming the producer of what your vision is phenomenal, right? And so I was like, okay, so now we're going to do this and I'm going to go full throttle. And so simultaneously, I'm also doing my day job. My day job is as a live streamer. And so all of a sudden, I'm having this, people from my live streaming are coming into my entrepreneurship, right? And vice versa. And I'm like, wow. And so for me, I don't understand analytics yet. And then I understood analytics the past month. And I was like, wow, that's huge, because now there's a crossover. So one day I had 9,000 viewers out of nowhere. Wow. Do I have them in Entrepreneur? No, I don't. My show here, totally none. But then on my other show, lots of people. And I'm like, who are these people? Come and follow me over here. Come over here, guys.
Well done.
But we start somewhere, right? And so then it's like, okay, even though people are like, you have too much going on. No, I don't. As an entrepreneur, any one of these wheels can fail at any time. And I still need to keep going. I still need to make sure that all of these are going full throttle. And they're like, are you ever going to rest? You know what? Rest is no longer a thing anymore, because I have not achieved what I'm looking to achieve. And it's not about monetary. It's about, engaging with the right audience and making sure that, all these resources that I have access to, other people have access to. And so when I talk to someone like you, when I speak to someone like you that's doing the same thing, you're utilizing your resources and your knowledge base, and you're able to monetize on that while also empowering your community. That is true success in itself.
Come on. Well done.
Right? I really believe in that 100%. When do you have you ever thought about, I'll talk to you offline. There's one bookmaking company that comes to mind for you that literally they should contact you. All right. So I'm going to ask you another question. So what are some of the things you wish you would have known then that you know now when you first began this journey as an entrepreneur?
Excellent question, and thank you at least for, the one thing I appreciate about having moments or sessions like this is not that I'm just, people say you are kind of sharing stories and also educating others, but for me, I'm also feeling that I'm really learning from you, and I'm also able to think some of the things that I actually wasn't thinking. Recently, there was another magazine that reached out and asked the same question you're asking now. The thing that I feel, had I knew when I started, probably I would have, number one, I think maybe I can just list 5 here. Number one, I would have been more focused on sales and marketing. Like I shared, 8 months, paying rent, and even going into debt wasn't really worth it. What was I doing? Just go to the office, sit there, and hope someone will come. But is there a notice somewhere telling someone that, hey, Coach Oscar is waiting for you there, so you should go in? No. So I feel, had I knew how to sell really well and market, brand myself, I think I would have really done a lot, especially when I was kickstarting. Another thing I also would learn or feel that had I knew earlier on might probably make a huge difference is if I had mentors in my beginning. In fact, anyone listening to this, please go for a mentor, go for a coach. Though they are different, but they can at least help you achieve some meaningful result. I never had one. I trusted my instinct. I just believed that what I knew was good enough. And I felt I know it all. But from where I sit now and I could look back, when did I hire a coach? That was in, I think, 3 or 4 years later. That's 2015. Now, had I knew this, I probably, in fact, my coach took me on a global platform, and that was one of them, JT Fox. In one of his events, hosted me 1,000 audience when he asked me to come share my story. I've never stepped on such platform. I didn't know how. But anyway, you need a mentor. It also did help me, like I did share a few minutes ago, how don't just think that people will buy all the products, the programs, the courses you're creating. They're not you. That's you thinking about it. You need to go out there and see what they want and then come back and create what they want. I learned that from him. So it's very important to have a coach. I also would ask that anyone who probably would start needs to get some level of arms, or when I mean arms, I mean some defense. Get the legal stuff in place. For the first time I was in court, I never thought anyone could take me to court for whatever reason. I mean, I'm serving people here. I'm trying to help people live their best life. And why would that cause any issue like that? Yes, it did. Someone bought the program for whatever reason, maybe didn't check what she signed. What happened was in one of the sections, I took a picture and shared online of our session, and the person came back, no, you have to take it down. You have to take it down. And I'm like, why should I do that? No, I'm going to get my lawyers to write to you. That's not what I signed up for. Okay, it's fine. And then I contacted my lawyer. They helped to say, okay, ask her to check the registration when she was signing up on that program. That saved me. Otherwise, I probably would have been answering some things that I didn't know. Those are some of the things that had I knew in the beginning, though I learned this as we progress. And again, no regret, because the entrepreneurial journey is that thing. You just learn as you go. You learn as you go. You learn as you go, and you get better. And again, maybe another thing I will add is try to constantly improve yourself, constantly seek ways to learn. Every new year, I sit with my coach. I have 4 of them. I've got the one that is good in sales. I got the one in family. I got the one for how to scale. In fact, that's really the one I've been working on a larger part of this year. The reason is this. You need to constantly have that open mind to get better. Open mind, how can I do what I'm doing better? That challenge, that someone who holds you accountable. Because in your own space, you will always think that you're the rock. You are you are too good and probably don't need anything. When you start having that kind of mindset, you start going down.
Yeah.
So I think for me, these 4 or how many tips I've shared, I don't know. But these are the things that had I knew when I was starting in 2012, I probably would have hit ground running faster than it only took me 3, 4, 5 years to pick up some of these things. And yeah, I don't regret, but I knew there could have been some maybe grants that I would have been covered had I started earlier on.
Absolutely. I agree with you 100%. One part of my business model is actually providing access to entrepreneurs to legal services. And so one of the things that, Legal Shield is one of the brands that I have. And so, when somebody signs on to me, I always ask them, are you ready? Do you need legal services? Because you may need it. You may not think you need it now, but you will need it eventually. And you'd be surprised. Everybody changes their tune when they find out that you have a lawyer. There's so many contracts and so many everything. Like I could literally hire about 300 employees right now. And unfortunately, because I don't have the right access to have an attorney really committed to my contracts, I have to put a freeze on it, right? And so getting that legal help is the most important thing of owning a business, because other than that, businesses would just walk all over you. And that's why I created my brand. And so I hate to do a pitch on this, but that's why I created Corporate Diagnostic Center. Solely for this reason, because originally I was doing business to business services for businesses that were already established. And when I found out how difficult and challenging big businesses made it for entrepreneurs to get their beginning, this is why they fail, because they're going through all these hoops and they're wasting all their time and their productivity. And even though they don't understand the words or the terminology yet, it does happen because these other companies just keep making them go through hoops. And so then I thought to myself, if I am as well spoken as I am, and if I have the patience that I do, how are people that don't have the training that I have, how are they experiencing this? And what about people that speak English as a second language? So then I decided to take it to another level, because a lot of people think that the United States is just English and Spanish. No, it is not. There are so many people. There are business owners here there's a huge community of people that speak Swahili. There's people from Haiti doing business here. There's people from Korea, everywhere, from all around the world. We are a melting pot of diversity. And when I go to these shops and I look at their technologies, I say to myself, you weren't sold the right thing. And, I'm here and I don't speak to me in your language. I want to speak to you in your language. We can write back and forth, and they appreciate that. And so that's where I decided, you know what? I'm no longer going to do business to business. I'm going to do entrepreneurship, business to business. And I'm going to help people throughout the United States get the services that they need and be that middleman. So that way they don't have to go through the trials and errors that I did, So, Corporate Diagnostic Center. Feel free to visit my website at www.corporatediagnosticcenter.com. If you do need legal services, you can go to the Legals tab and you'll have access to Legal Shield. And we also have some other legal services coming about in 2022. I love that you said that. One of the things about business is that you can't know everything. And the mentorship is very, very important. I was kind of weary on it. There's this group of people, and I'll give them a shout out, even though I haven't worked with them and they don't pay me to, but Mentoro. So I found Mentoro on LinkedIn. And so as an official live streamer on LinkedIn, I was all of a sudden, all these things started populating, and Mentoro was one of them. And they were very good with their follow through and calling me back and making sure, but I didn't know what the importance was until recently. And then I said, I really don't I'm really good at what I'm good at, but I'm really bad at what I'm not good at, what I have no idea about. And so there's one thing is that, as regular worker bees, we're used to the front end. As entrepreneurs, we're the back end, we're the middle end, we're all ends. And so we have to really navigate through a lot of information in order to make our corporations function properly, And when you don't have the funds to hire all the professionals, you have to learn it yourself. And that is a very, very, very dangerous place to be. And it could be a very costly and very tiresome place to be as well. So having a mentor, 100%, I recommend that as well. Who is your favorite mentor? Ooh, out of your 4. I have to call you out on it.
Now is the listener. What do you think they're going to think?
I will put you on that spot. No, that's not fair. I love it.
Anyway, I've got Margaret Hirsch. I think she really helped me when I arrived South Africa to exactly, you said something that is so profound here when she told me about don't aim for these corporate guys. They make entrepreneurs go through very tough, difficult things just to be able to get in. So she, at the earliest beginning, told me, you know what? Focus on business to entrepreneurs. These are the people you should be looking at. So Margaret Hirsch is one of my favorites. J.T. Fox, he's an American, but he comes to South Africa. Before the lockdown, he was always here 3-4 times a year.
Oh,
He's
wow.
the guy who offered me the first platform on 1,000 audience. Hey, and in fact, he named me Coach Oscar when he was actually struggling to pronounce my name. And then he was like, who is going to remember this? The audience said, like this, no one. And then he said, how about you go with Coach Oscar? And everyone erupted. I became a mini celebrity in just a few seconds. So he's one guy I do appreciate a lot. And then I have this guy, Shay. Shay's been there for me from the beginning. When I lost my job, he reached out. In fact, he used the word congratulations. Come to the world where you make your money. I'm like, how do you do that? He said, don't worry, you're going to see it. Now, he's the one guy that's been so outstanding. And I have this Derek. Derek is one of the top trainers in the world from South Africa. He works exclusively with reserve banks, what we call central banks of countries. He does strategic planning with them. He's one guy, every year I reached out to him, and then, we bounce ideas together. Now, just to add around coaching and mentoring, for me, it's very important. Though it looks so, I can do it myself, do I really have need for this? You do. Because the times you try, like you say, you might be good at what you're good, but you don't know how terrible you are at the stuff you don't know how, and how costly these things could be. So would you rather make all the success or get all the money or whatever it is that resonates for you as success, and then one silly mistake you could have remedied if you had someone to watch your back, help you, guide you, help you, just you are up there, but one silly mistake poof, takes you down. So that's why I highly, highly do recommend get a mentor. Once you made up your mind to start the business, even family. When I started my first child, I struggled then how I wasn't really too prepared when the child came in. Know all of this parenting stuff. But I had to look for one of my religious leader.
Now, you're on pause. Go ahead. Can you repeat that? You muted.
Okay. Now, what I meant by that, when I became a father and not really knowing how to deal with, children and all of that, I reached out to my spiritual father and I did ask questions. I don't know. Children are sometimes too busy to deal with. You don't even sleep. They've broken my laptop severally. But how do I do this? How do I become a good father, a responsible father? And I got those tips, those guidance. Now, what has it helped me? It has helped me reduce stress because I knew I didn't need any of that. Helped me reduce stress, understand that this is a phase. From year 1, year 2, they will get to 3, they will get to 8. That prepared my mind for when they keep throwing those stuff at me. Now I'm better prepared. I can do it. The same thing is applicable in business or any career path you want to think. You can never never, never undervalue the value you get from a coach, except if you don't get a good one. If you get a good mentor, a good coach, you can achieve what you would have achieved in, let's say, in 2 years. You can achieve it in 1 year if you have someone that
Absolutely.
holds you accountable to get that stuff done. I've seen it in my life. I've done business. For the first time, break into the 6 digit in coaching. That was because someone like JT Fox wasn't taking any of my excuses. I'm in a city called Cape Town where all is black. Sorry, all is majority are white. And when I first started, someone told me, I think you might not stand a chance here. You won't succeed. Why don't you relocate to another province? Why don't you do this? As of then, I don't know why I said to this lady, I said to her, watch me. To be very honest, with all of my heart, I didn't know why I said it, and I didn't even know I did say it. 3-4 years down the line, I think that was 2019, this woman reached out to me to say, I see you doing so well. Can we partner together to work? And I'm like, no. You didn't believe in me in the beginning. Not necessary now. So the reason why I say this is that it's because I did have a mentor who helped me navigate, told me, get out of that office, go get a client. You need business. Before you get the next office, make sure you have not less than 10 paying clients. And build on that. As they're completing their programs, get new ones. Don't wait for when they exhaust the time with you or they buy the product, they've gone. Think of how to either resell, upsell, or create something. You have to get something to keep filling the funnel. It was only when I learned this that I now said, okay, it's fine, I've learned this. I can now go and get an office and now probably cannot wait. And I don't just wait in the office. I make sure every time in the office, 3 times a week, I have the guy that handles our social media and all the tech stuff, but I get involved in those chats. You don't just post the social media. I try to follow up to also respond. Maybe I may get a client. So I believe mentorship, coaching is very important to anyone if you really want to succeed.
Absolutely. I agree with that 100%, because one of the things, and just to go back on what you said, is I spoke with someone who I look up to now. We had a really candid conversation about whether to get board members or not get board members, and, what his struggle was. And so, going on a global level and owning a corporation, there's a lot of responsibility when we're looking for board members and their responsibilities. And it's just, it could get very sticky, right? And so when I opened up my doors and said, I'm looking for board members, I had the best CEOs from the best schools from all around the world contact me. And so I only had a portion. I went through them and I was just like, wow, these are really intense people. Like their skill set, their knowledge, everything that they have worked so hard for, in 10, 20, 30 years, they're willing to share that wisdom with me. And so one of them, I asked this person, I said, can you tell me a little bit about what your hobbies are? Because I needed to personalize it, because their careers were so intense. And I was like, whoa, like I want to see your human side. If we're going to work, if you're going to be on my team, I need to see the human side of you. I don't want to see your professional side, because you're already there. You've already succeeded beyond anything I've ever imagined. Right. And so one of the people I spoke to was a global CEO. And to this day, he provided me with knowledge, and he gave me 30 years of experience in 5 minutes. In 5 minutes, I was blown away. And I was just like, that man is my hero every single day. And then this other woman said, hey, have you thought about looking this up? And I was like, no, I never thought about that. And she's a top executive in her firm, right? And so when we have visions that coincide with other people that believe in it, that's amazing. Do you think I reached out to them and I said, thank you. I haven't reached out to them again because I was embarrassed. Like what, I have nothing to offer you people right now. Like, I wish I did, I wish I could offer you more. However, it's important to have that mentorship, because you'll get that guidance that you need. You'll get that insight of 20, 30 years experience relate to you in a way that you can understand. And that's what's important, is communication, right? So one of the things that I found
I'm also writing,
Oh, yes.
No, you made some profound point there, so I needed to write that down.
And like before we wrap up, I do have one more question for you, but I do want to say
Come
this.
on.
You mentioned it twice, was that, not going to the top there. One of my business partners is Mazuma. They do my bookkeeping and my accounting. And so the reason why they became my partner was because I went to them and I shared my vision, they shared their vision, and guess what? We're both not going for the richest guy in the pool. We're going for regular people. We want to help them
Come
and
on.
provide them with services that are attainable, that will help them be compliant from day one, right? And then
Wow.
I had a moment the other day where I was feeling just so consumed. And then I said, you know what? Why am I worrying myself? Those are not my people. My people are normal people. They don't need me to wear a suit and tie. All they need me to do is translate all these all these acronyms in technology and all these acronyms in business, when in reality all they want to do is open up a plumbing shop or open up a restaurant or open up a hair salon. They don't need to know all the ins and outs of all these other business. Their skill set is very different. Their skill set is the arts and cooking, which is also an art, or technical stuff. And so, like, why not be that filter? Why not do that? And you know what? I'm not going to dress up because that's not my tribe. I found my tribe. I know what my tribe is, and I'm good with that. Someone was like, "Are you afraid about the way you branded yourself, that you're not going to get, like, you're going to lose out on millions of dollars?" And I said, "No, I'd rather lose out on millions of dollars working with people that that I'm actually helping them. Like, I don't, if my brand is a problem, then I apologize. But do you really want me to do business for you? Like, even wouldn't that make you uncomfortable? Don't you want to be comfortable during that business process? Let's all get along.
Come on.
Let's all achieve what we're trying to achieve at the end of the day. And anyhow, I get
I
on
think
tangents.
no, what you said is very profound and absolutely I agree 100%. And I wanted to just share something here. It is a meeting that is holding next week on the 15th to 21st of November. And that's the biggest networking or biggest trade fair event on the on the continent of Africa. That's the Intra-Africa Free Trade Zone. Now that event, I got a special invite to attend that event. We'll be having nearly all heads of state from the 54 or 55 countries in Africa, ministers, top individuals are showing up at that meeting. Now, how did I get in here? I was in one of the networking meetings they held in different provinces, countries before as a build up to this one. And I'm making the point around what you talked about now. In one of those meetings, I talked about the mentioned fundings for businesses. And I got the opportunity where I spoke around the ordinary people, the youth, the young people whom, yes, we always tell them, government is not coming to save you. No one is coming to save you. You have to do something. Our continent, unfortunately, is really not like at least how it is in your part of the world. Now, we've talked to these people. Don't just sit there. Don't graduate and wait for a job. Don't sit there and just hope someone somehow is going to put food on your table. Get out there, do something. But the disappointing part is that when these people have started, managed to get maybe that small business up and running, can't take care of at least their immediate need and want to expand. The red tape in terms of how they assess the support is not there. How do these ordinary boys, girls, young youth that you say is the future of Africa, how do these people get past where they are? Now that they don't know anyone at the top, they don't know these guys that you are always giving funds, and every year in, year out, you said you spend these billions and billions in supporting businesses. That was what got me the invite to that event. Come tell us the story, because I put up something around our youth needs to be supported. Our young people, the small business, the one you call the regular guys, needs to be supported somehow.
Yes.
They have managed to get the ideas up. They need something. So
Yeah.
what you're doing is profound, and for me, that's the big market. That's it. At the top, when I run on this philosophy that when you serve these ordinary guys, the big guys are going to come for you because they see the numbers. A lot of them, in fact, when I spoke at that meeting, I didn't even know the guy. And he said, Coach Oscar, I know you. I've been following you online. I'm like, ooh, okay. Someone knows me here. All right. And then once I finished, he said, how about you come to these bigger events? We'll allow you to just tell us a little about from your experience on how working with these ordinary people how we can assist them. So
Absolutely.
you're doing profound, you're doing amazing, and please don't let anyone in any way try to this little one might not be able to pay you. It's not about the payment. For me, it's about that life you touch, help this person either know something better that could help multiply their value and they can actually make profit from it. That's good enough.
Absolutely.
So well done.
Thank you very much. Even though we're out of time, I don't know if it's going to stop recording, but I do have to ask you. I'll crop it.
Sure.
So what's the one piece of advice you want to give to a new entrepreneur?
For new entrepreneurs starting, I would always say, stop waiting. I know it sounds like a cliche, but you can take my word. Stop waiting for that perfect moment. No one is coming to save you. In fact, there will never be a perfect time. I'm speaking here because I didn't sit back on my couch on my home crying, weeping, what went wrong, what never happened. Get started. It doesn't have to be perfect. When I started, before I built a brand, I know I'm now a big brand or a global brand like most people say, I started without a website. In fact, I ran my business, had people who did website for me. For no reason, it keeps going down. Something goes wrong. And then I said, hold it there. Let's see what I could do with this social media. I took my Facebook and LinkedIn as a tool that I need to build a brand on. And with it, yes, website, every other thing are in place now, but start where you are. Let money not be the issue. Just start from where you are. I like Nike. I wear Nikes, but I love the slogan and what they represent. Just do it. Stop waiting for a perfect moment. Who is coming to bail you out? No one is coming to bail you out. And for as long as you keep waiting, you won't be attracted to anyone. You get attracted to the people that when they see you doing something, would like to now get involved. That's my last word for any entrepreneur who wants to start out.
Thank you so much. Thank you again for visiting us. This is Coach Oscar. You can visit him at www.oscaremetui.com, or you can email him. He is the CEO of Billion House Consulting. It would be oscar@billionhouse.com. Thank you again, Coach Oscar, for joining us, and I look forward to seeing all your successes. Again, this is Queer HCEO with Entrepreneur Beginnings. The show is sponsored by Corporate Diagnostics Center. Thank you, and have a wonderful day.